Now, Edmundo Sosa's next up on the grades. I'm going to give him a B+. When Trey Turner went down for 6 weeks early in the year, Edmundo Sosa really stepped up, so much so that people were like, should he be a full-time player? No, that's silly. He's given you enough of a body of work. He's a perfect infield piece to have on your bench and play twice a week type of situation. I do not want him being a full-time starter. So my B+ is reflective of him being a bench player. Played in 90 games. Oh, Tyler, I was just about to read that. Yeah. 90 games this year, 257, 313, 422 slash line with a 104 OPS plus, 7 dingers, 31 RBIs, 23 extra base hits, 7 stolen bases. Pre-All-Star game, which to me got weighted the heaviest because he became that full-time guy, more or less, with Turner out. 274, 332, 458 prior to the All-Star game. So I thought that kind of led me to the B+ range. His WAR was a 2.3. I know Tyler loves WAR, which is much higher than I would have thought it to be. Slight improvements from last year, the year prior. His average in OBP and OPS all went up. His slugging and OPS plus were very similar. Very hard to be upset with what Edmundo Sosa gave you in the role he's carved out for this team. I feel comfortable with a B+.
Okay, that's fair. I like that. That's close to my grade.
Oh, boy.
So Edmundo Sosa, for me, I do think that when you look at the month of May and how...
Dave Dewar says I'm too generous, higher than a B. It's a B+. It's not that much higher.
I think for the month of May, when he stepped in place of Trey Turner and in his 72 at-bats, he gave you some really impressive numbers. He was honestly a big reason why the Phillies were still winning games in May, and it was very seamless with injuries because he gave you 17 runs, 22 hits, 4 doubles, 4 triples, and his numbers in May were the best of all his splits for a month out of the season with a 306 average, 375, 597 slugging, and a 972 OPS. And I love the fact that Edmundo Sosa stepped up in that month and then gave you some consistency. You knew whether he was second base, shortstop, wherever he played, he was going to give you the energy, as Rob Thompson talks about. He was going to be out there as someone that is a grinder. I know that's another thing that we talk about this team needing more of. And I know even Steven in the chat, you're mentioning it. I liked what he brings as a true role player, as a true bench piece. And unfortunately, though, what is a little frustrating is I was hoping he could bring some of that in the postseason when he started in place of Alec Boehm, and instead had a couple of errors, was not good in the postseason. And so for his postseason numbers, which I accidentally had read earlier, to have in his 4 at-bats just 1 hit in the 2 games that he played and 1 run, and then had the 250 batting average. He was great when you needed him, and then he also was not great at times. And I don't expect him to be someone that's an everyday starter. I don't expect him to be an everyday player.
It's like I don't want him playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like for me, for Edmundo Sosa as just a bench piece with a capital B, that's what he gets for me.
Right.
I thought he was steady. I thought he was solid, not too flashy, not too much of a game changer, but also someone that didn't kill you.
Tyler, a B+ and a B from us. What do you got?
Yeah, it's an interesting player because, Renee, I distinctly remember you and I doing a show after he played hero one night in maybe May or early June. And the thing we kept going back to was what he's doing right now is exactly what the Phillies need because of the fact that it allows Trey Turner to naturally get back and naturally heal. And he was really, really good in that role from the time Turner got back to the time Turner got injured to the time he got back. The issue that Edmundo Sosa faced as the season progressed and he saw more and more plate appearances, his chase rate went through the roof. He had a 40% chase rate this year. He swung and missed at almost 32% of his pitches. He struck out 24% of his at-bats. His walk rate was low. He's never going to be a high walk guy, but it was a 313 OBP despite the fact that he hit almost 260. You've got a good utility middle infielder. He can play short. He can play play second. They've put him at third a couple of times. I wouldn't continue to do that if I were the Phillies. To me, he is a middle infielder by trade. He's a good base runner. His sprint speed was in the 92nd percentile.
Is he really?
I think overall, it was a really good month plus when he was filling in for Trey Turner. He gave a boost, exactly what they needed. Everything outside of that was probably pretty prototypical of a bench player. To me, he was a slightly above average player for a bulk of the year, or was slightly above average for the entirety of the year, was really good that stretch, had some really ugly pockets as well.
Sure.
I'm going to go C+ for Edmundo Sosa. There was nothing to me outside of that month pocket where I was like, this guy is a
But that's
super
why
utility piece.
I weighted him higher because I thought that 6-week stretch when Trey was down,
is fair.
which was the most important part.
I think the totality of the season, he was slightly above average.
Sure.
It was a 104 OPS, which basically says he's just above an average hitter across the OPS line.
Yeah.
It was a fine year from a guy that you needed a fine year from. I think he gave you exactly what you expected over the course of he had 249 at bats.
All right.
C+ for
I
me.
like it.
I like it.